What are you trying to do?
It just looks shit, doesn't it?
What are you supposed to be doing? Common purpose?
Looking for pictures like I always do.
What's your common purpose for, though?
Hey, we're on. Hang on, that means I need to turn that down, doesn't
it? I've just had the same thing. I can never tell whether it's fucking you or...
No, it's not me. Well, that were me, but not me. Do you know what I mean? Me, kind of. That
were you, but not you?
Yeah. Yeah, very much. I wonder what that is then. Hang on a minute. Let's save that. Do you know when you're looking for something, you can't find it, what can you do?
When you're looking for something, but you can't find it, what can you do? Do a search for it. Search for it.
I know. Is it time to press the Eve button?
No.
Welcome to Raconteurs News. I have to do this bit because his thingy don't work properly sometimes, so we're not really sure. Anyway, morning. How are you doing? All right.
Hey up, mate. Good evening. Welcome to Raconteurs News, everybody. It went a bit late then again with me. I don't know what it is. I'm going to write to fucking StreamYard and say, now I demand.
You demand?
I demand. I'll here are a list of my demands. And one of them is going to be that fucking works. So anyway, good evening. Welcome to Raconteurs News on lockdown. We all on lockdown. It's absolutely fantastic. We're all stuck in and bored, absolutely fucking shitless. But we still come here to talk to you a lot. And of course, I've got Common Purpose Man alongside me as usual. Good evening, AD. Are you all right, my friend?
I am, yeah. Do you know, the reason I've got this behind me at the minute is, and it's not going to stay there long, trust me. Common Purpose always had this, what was the name of the woman? I can't even remember her fucking name.
Julia.
Yeah, and she did that book, didn't she? But the whole thing basically was...
Beyond Authority.
Yeah, operating or whatever beyond authority. In other words, whatever authority you've got, the idea behind Common Purpose, it was supposed to be this kind of team building fucking anyway. It is just infiltration from within, basically. If you've not done any research into Common Purpose, go and have a look. But all this shit that we've got going on at the minute, the only thought I have got is wearing...
I hope you've got more than fucking one, because we've got 2 hours to do.
All right, yeah. Wearing one of these isn't really going to fuck up their facial recognition system.
You only have to put makeup on anyway. Just do some fucking like war paint makeup on yourself when you go out, and put some like feathers on, like so you can tell them that you're an Indian chief and you're from the Native American people.
I'm more like a chieftain than a chief.
A chief, yeah. Anyway, over the weekend, we've had a couple more people fall victim to this vile fucking scam that's been portrayed in front of us. But they're using the usual sort of like woolly language. So it's Tim Brooke Taylor died over the weekend. Don't you remember Tim Brooke Taylor? He were in the goodies. I remember that from the 70s, particularly mostly for them being chased around by a giant zebedee, as far as I can remember.
Yeah, it kind of got a bit... It kind of almost went Benny Hillish, didn't it, towards the end?
Yeah, Benny Hillish, yeah. Oh, yeah. If that's a thing. Is there a thing? Can you be Benny Hillish?
Can you be Benny Hillish? That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
It'd be an interesting chat. We could have a chat with Vladimir Putin and Victoria Derbyshire off of the BBC.
Off of the BBC.
Off of the BBC, because the BBC they're giving us all the good stuff. It's fucking great.
I did miss a email. Hang on a minute. Where are we?
Do you know what I wanted to ask? And I wondered this, and I thought the best person to ask would be Webby, because he's, I know he knows a lot of people that in the prison service. But at 8 o'clock on a certain day, there won't fucking prisoners come to the door of the cell and start clapping out screws. Because that's what we're doing, aren't we? That's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's exactly. No, you're right. It's exactly what we're doing. You are absolutely right. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, we're just clapping our fucking. Oh, look at us! We're all stuck in. But then people who were allowed out to carry on and do the jobs. You know, they're heroes. Again, this hero thing bandied about massively. They're heroes. How come always heroes have never got a fucking pot to piss in, always poorly paid, badly equipped, and fucking and just absolutely nothing like the fucking thing that these people that are working, they're doing their job. That's all they're doing. They're doing the job. They're carrying on doing the job. There's more and more stuff going that they have to adhere to. Like my nurse came in yesterday looking like a fucking stormtrooper. I didn't even recognise her. She got a mask on. I said, well, who goes there? Like, and she got like this fucking face thing, them full plastic things, and she's got to put it on outside, and she's got to take it off outside. And, and so I put that video that you sent me up, the one where it, the one where he says it's about a virus, you can't get a virus unless can't catch a virus unless it's injected into you or something like that. And I put that on just on telly, with sound up. And she listens to us because she said to me, she says, I recognise that bloke that's weird, because she always listens to us in a car. She says she listens to us in her car, and she says I heard the other guy saying that he was from Kilmarsh, and she's from Kilmarsh. So she said that I think I recognise him, just from around town and from around area and stuff. And I said, well, you've sort of lived in and around that area, aren't you? Pretty much most of your adult lifetime.
Yeah, since I was sort of early 20s. Yeah, I've sort of been Swallownest, Kilmarsh, halfway, sort of this end of town, really. Which, for anybody listening any more than 10 miles away, will make a fucking difference, really. But
no, it don't. And we probably should not mess the ears up. But I just thought I'd say that because we were talking earlier on, and then we decided not to stop talking so that we could talk them things tonight.
Yeah, just explain that. I'll just explain that. Jason rang me earlier and said, I know it's Bank Holiday Monday, but we should do something. And I was there going, oh, God, woe is me. I live on my own, not seeing anybody, bored, can't go out, want to die. And he went, no, mate, look, it's up to us to bring people some sunshine. And I thought, actually, yeah, you're right, which is why we got the, bring me sunshine thing up. But not only that, it's not just about the human interaction at all. It's more about, even I look out the window sometimes now and I think to myself, surely people are not that gullible. They're not, either.
They are, though. They all stood at the fucking doorstep.
But yeah, they are.
Pots and pans. Like a bunch of fucking retarded, fucking devoid fucking androids from future that have fucking gone wrong.
Yeah, and then we've got all sorts of stuff going on. While we're locked in here, there's Roy Carter sent me pictures of vans with telecommunication stickers on them outside schools. What's all that about? Yeah,
because they're fitting 5G in schools, aren't they? I mean, they've been saying that for a long time. This is getting us out of the way. This is nobody. I'm surprised. Shall I tell you? I'm surprised that there's not been the amount of people going out this weekend. I thought everybody had just gone, fuck off.
I did actually. Yeah, I did.
And I don't know how much that happened. I do know that they said that I saw on Facebook that for 2 days, the police helicopter, the one that we can't afford anymore, South Yorkshire Police, so now we share it with West Yorkshire Police. Well, that were up and around up in air around Dinnington on 2 days of a weekend. So they must have been looking in back gardens to see who were breaching it and then directing fucking other knobheads into area.
Well, last night it must have been. Just trying to think what time. It was dark, or it had just got dark. So what's that this time of year? About 9, 10 o'clock, 9, 10 o'clock, something like that. And I'd got my blinds open. I'm sort of, I guess they should have been shut about half an hour earlier, really. But I was just sort of sat in my chair and anyway, I noticed that there was a really, really bright light in the sky. I thought, police helicopter. Now, whilst I don't live in the middle of a city, because I live near a country park where people quite well, especially in summer, have been known to go missing, and because it's got a lot of land covered in ponds, because it's actually a flood defence thing, people, if they go missing, they often send the police helicopter up, Rotherville Country Park. And last night I was sort of sat there and I could see this bright light in the sky just doing circling about a mile. And I'm thinking, that doesn't sound like a bloody helicopter. So I stuck my head out the door and there was a fixed wing plane that was too dark. Couldn't see. It was probably only about 1,500 foot up. And it looked like it was just circling Rotherville.
Yeah, there's been reports of that in Sheffield, local Sheffield Star. Online.
But it wasn't a helicopter, it was a fixed wing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The planes have been flying little planes, small single engine Cessna type things.
Yeah.
Not Cessnas, but
Yeah, I know what you mean. That sort of
and just been going round and round. Looking, that's what they've been doing. Yeah, they've been spying. So the best thing to if I'd suggest if you're on your back garden, right, and you see one of them above you,
I will be.
Just get your cock out and wave it at them or something. You know what I mean? If you won't have a good enough zoom to zoom in on mine, so I'm not bothered.
Yeah, just get your ass out, or just print F off or fuck off. Just a letter on each piece of paper and just peg it out in your back garden.
Well, we've got no else better to do, haven't we? Fucking hell, they've made sure of that.
Yeah, exactly.
We said this, didn't we? We've said this a lot of times.
Yeah.
Sorry, but someone's just posted something during the night over Bolton. There were Chinooks. There've been Chinooks flying about.
Really?
Over Bolton, yeah. I've seen a few of them as well, going over here, which is not that. I don't know if it's that unusual, but because we're imagine the flight path that we're on. Isn't really any. We've got Manchester go because I did see when I flew from last year when I flew to Leeds Bradford. I actually saw our house through I spotted them. You know them twin towers near us.
Oh yeah.
I spotted them and then I saw our house from sky, and so these flight paths. Are they still going on? I mean, I thought we were supposed to be on lockdown.
Well, there's still spraying going on.
Yeah, sorry. Go on. Sorry.
There's still definitely stuff flying around. I don't think there's certainly any commercial flights, really. Not that I know of.
Well, if you have a look on thing though, there's loads. If you have a look on the flight radar apps that you can get. Yeah. You get go on there. There's loads and loads of commercial airlines. I mean, they're not even they're bringing people in, and not the people that come in are not getting quarantined or tested or anything like that. Because they don't need to be. I mean, it probably soon it'll probably. To travel to this country, you need to make sure that you've been vaccinated against coronavirus, or COVID-19, as we like to call it.
Yeah, of course it is.
Which somebody's put stands for Certificate of Vaccination ID.
Ah.
Yeah. There you go. Bill Gates in his fucking ugly mug.
I'd not thought of that. I mean, I have heard some good points over the past few days. You know, I mean, Bill Gates is what? Second biggest contributor to the World Health Organization. Kind of just really says it all, really, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. We'll end tonight's broadcast there. Just about says it all. Finished. Because after that, it's just a fucking game stop of that. You know, a man like Bill Gates made his money because well, who knows? Let's put it this way: he might be a player, but he's low down the pecking
Windows
order.
off, didn't he?
You what? Sorry.
He did rip Windows off.
Yeah.
That were ripped off from someone else.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he didn't write the code for it. Apparently, the original DOS code. Apparently. But you know, Bill Gates. I mean, how many countries has Bill Gates and his wife been kicked out of for poisoning fucking kids?
Well, but I think he's not allowed in Africa, is he? For certain parts of Africa because of it. I mean, it's. Gary Yates in the chat room has put night flight is abnormal over here. I'm ex-forces, Jason. Also, the camp near Bolton. I think there's something else. The camp near Bolton was the Krypton Factor filming location. So not a really big live base. So there's a lot of activity going on over Bolton, but there's not really no real excuse from being there. You know, I mean, it's particularly night flights. Good evening to everybody that's in the chat room. Anyway, we've got Mandy Genre, Webster Report. Good evening, Webby, Uni Black Sister. Hello there, Taylor. Ron Malcolm. He's tried to talk about it, but to people about it, but sadly they get all the news from the MSN and don't know what to do. They do shit themselves. It's a natural response if you think about when you were, shall we say, before you grew up. Let's not say awake, because you have to grow up to get this stuff. You don't have to be awake. You don't have to wake up to it. You need to grow up to it.
Yeah. Do you know, it's exactly that, because until then, until you actually grow up to it, that's a really good phrase, that. You're relying on everybody else. But once you kind of open your eyes and see what's going on, you suddenly realize that actually you've got to look after yourself and those people directly around you. Because the people who you think are leading you and the people who you think are in charge and the people who you think have got your best interests at heart have got exactly not your best interests at heart.
No, they hate you. They want to kill you. They think you're a useless eater. They think you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
They think we're pieces of shit. They can poke this virus thing. What's his face? Fucking Boris. He dies. He's got coronavirus. He's fucking at death's door. And then suddenly rises again on Easter Sunday. And it's alive. It's alive. It's alive. And there's Boris. And he's fucking telling everybody that they saved my life. Them fuckers did.
What was it? Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and Boris.
Yeah.
Is that how it went?
The Book of Boris.
Hang on. Saint Christopher, Saint, I don't know, Bartholomew, and Saint Boris. It kind of doesn't really fit, does it really?
Not really. No, he's going to have to sort something out. But, you know, he's managed to, and now he's going to the country house, Chequers, because that must be right next to hospital.
Does he live in a very big house in the country?
Yeah, well, it's the Prime Minister's country residence, in it, so all Prime Ministers get it. And it's Chequers, so he's there, and his pregnant girlfriend, who's been obviously waiting and
yeah, well, that's a grudge baby, isn't it? It's a grudge baby. It's a grudge baby.
What do you mean a grudge baby?
Somebody clearly had it in for him. Boom, boom!
No, not the bum.
No, sorry.
Because there would be no baby.
A grudge. Somebody had it in for him. Grudge.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, and someone like he got a firm in.
Yeah. To
sort her out. That's what he did. He's rung up and he said, "Darling, I need a firm in to sort our lass out because I've got COVID. I've got coronavirus and oh God." He never had it. He just snorted too much coke, says Gary Yates. I must say hello to everyone who's listening to us on Facebook. Good evening to you. We'll wave to you. Hello there, Facebook people. It's always nice to get your comments in the chat room, and I suppose it's a lot easier if you're on Facebook as well. But still, if you're on watching us on YouTube, like Sane Man and Bright77 and Ron Malcolm and Trisha Morticia, she sounds interesting. Jamie Howe says, "Evening, Jason and Aid." Good evening to you, Jamie. You can't wake people up. You get battered if you tell them the truth. That's I know, but at some point you have to just either give up with that particular person, because you know that you've told them everything and it's still not made them grow up. Then it's just a fucking waste of time. But there are people that will sit and listen to you now. You know what I mean?
My sister, who is 3.5, nearly 4 years older than me, who I have loved and looked up to for years, she'll say, "You do make me laugh, with your conspiracy theories." And the other night I'd had enough, and I went, "Well, hang on a minute. This phrase, conspiracy theory," I said, "I know why you've said it, because it's supposed to be a conversation killer. Because once somebody said that, it's like, you're supposed to, that's the balloon deflator. Well, I'm not having it." She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I'm not having it." I said, "Tell me where that phrase come from." She didn't know. I said, "Right, well, every country in the world is in debt to the banks. So until you understand where money comes from, you haven't got a clue of understanding how the whole world really works." And she works in a bank. "Yeah, but really just..." And I said, "Look, we're never having this conversation again until you've been to learn about fractional reserve lending. I'm not going to tell you where to go. Google it, look at it, research it, tell me what it means, and then come back and talk to me." And she won't.
Oh, yeah, no, of course they won't. No, because they're scared, you see?
Yeah.
You're having a bad dream, right? And it's a dream that you really do want to get out of, wake up from, but you can't. You just can't. It's the fucking, even when you get into the alternative, like listening to us and perhaps going and looking at other things and listening to different people, it's still going to be a fucking head fuck for you. It's going to be a right proper head fuck, especially if someone, when we've been saying things for years and years and years, and now things have started to happen on that people have been predicting for years.
Yeah.
Have been, people have been fucking dismissing you and dismissing. Now it's happening. It's they step another way. Another way back, another step backwards, right? Because this, we've talked about this before. They'll pretend there's a virus, a pandemic, then they'll offer, they'll react to it, and then they'll offer us a solution, such as a vaccine, which is what they're going to do.
Yeah. I mean, all they're going to do is they're just going to wait for everybody to go, "Oh, please, somebody do something, somebody do something, somebody do something." And when they've got enough people who just get bored and fucked off, who start shouting, "Please, somebody do something," you know what they're going to do then, don't you? "You can go out now if you let me stick this in your arm." And that'll be it. Once you've had your vaccination, and don't forget this genetic material that was taken from the supposedly original COVID-19 sufferers was never isolated. It was just genetic material from their lungs, apparently. Never isolated. So the only way you can definitely get this is to be injected with it. Which they're going to do. They're going to stick it in your arm.
And then we'll have the second wave, which will be much worse than the first wave, because all the vaccinated people are going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, there's COVID in the flu vaccine as well. So if anybody has a test for COVID-19 and they've had a flu vaccination, you're going to test positive, whether you've got symptoms or not. So what happens then?
Yeah, I mean, the Webby's just put a good point in. Says the Gates company Sorry, I just got a picture of a big wrought iron gate then, sorry. I just bought more stakes in the UK prison system.
Yeah.
Just going back to, the schools and 5G and all the rest of it. The thought I've got with that is, why don't they wait till the summer holidays? What is it that's made them do it now?
Well, I think it's probably the Lisbon Treaty had to be in place before the Lisbon Treaty took hold, which is started this month, I think.
Yeah.
And there's many things. I mean, I don't know if you've been watching I've been watching the some or other videos, and they're talking about it being Trump who's actually doing this because he's taking, draining the swamp, as it were, as he said he would do. But I mean, there's all sorts of different things. Alice has put. Andy Young said protesting is actually consenting. So what do we do to resist? I don't know whether this
resist. You just don't do anything.
It sounds like he knows what he's talking about. Go on.
Well, I was just going to say that, it's not a case of what do we do, it's what do we don't do. What do we not do? And you don't do as you're told. If you want to go out, go out. If you want to go to the shop, go to the shop. What they've done, though, is closed it down so that there's nowhere to fucking go.
Yeah.
So it's not a case of you can't go out, it's, well, where are you going to fucking go anyway?
Scissors. My scissors look disappear.
Are they green?
Yeah. They're what, a nick from thingy. I didn't nick them. They were the single-use scissors. They were used in hospital, so every time there were some single-use ones, I finished them. I thought
you used them twice.
Yeah, it's so good they used them twice. Yeah.
The other thing I've thought as well is, obviously, initially there was loads of videos kicking around. There's less now because I'm getting less every day, but now I'm getting sent stuff and I click straight on it and it's gone. Before you've even got a chance to look at it or whatever, something's made whoever take it down. So whether it's got something relating to 5G or what, I don't know. But if that doesn't prove that, because it's like the double bluff with Ike or whatever, isn't it? If they put Ike on telly, for most of the people who are not self-conscious, oh, well, if David Icke said it, what can you do, eh? Must be rubbish, all of it. So that's like the double bluff. But it's all that use of words, isn't it? It's the use of words, like somebody died after testing positive for. But
yeah, or with, like they did in Brooks Taylor's case, with coronavirus.
With corona. But we used to have on average about 1,400 people a day dying. On average of, just things people die of. Car accidents, motorbike accidents, cancer, heart attack, old age, pneumonia, whatever. Apparently, that's down on average about 300 a day at the moment, presumably because there's not as many car or motorbike accidents, because there's nobody out on the road. So, where are all these extra deaths? But you know what they'll say? It'll be, told you, see, our protocol worked. So, it's not like we can ever win this argument, because that's all they'll say. But when you've got things being taken down before you can even look at it, because my thing is, people should be able to put up what they like. Okay, now if it incites a riot, then we've got laws against that already. We don't need any extra ones. But to just take something down And the people who say, well, you know, they should take it down. No, they shouldn't. And I'll tell you why. Because if you're the sort of person who wants things to be taken down, that's a very childish attitude. What it's saying is, you and the people around you don't think can make a decision for themselves, and you need somebody to make it for you. Well, if something's so ridiculous, why not leave it up? Let somebody make their own mind up. But the people who were calling for it all to be, oh, you should ban that stuff off there, stop them idiots talking. You know, well, not only is it loss of free speech, it's loss of free thought, because you're not even allowed to think it.
Yes, very good, Gary Yates. If you can understand that one, I can't understand that one. I mean, something about fishing.
I played out on that last night. That's how I know.
There's helis were flying
about.
Oh,
helis flying about.
I thought it's something about hell there. No,
yeah.
Flying about, helicopters, which is 2 words, isn't it? Yeah. Helicopter comes from 2 words.
Does it?
Yeah. Helico and pater. It's Greek. Helico means spiral and pater means fly, like, you know, like a pterodactyl.
Get him. Clever boy. Didn't know that one.
Did you not? Oh, well. Yeah, there you go. You learn something new every day. Lion's share. Those people have a hard-on for power. That's what a power grab is. You're right. Yeah, they have. It's just a power grab and a money grab and a everything grab, really. Tim Brooks-Taylor, Sterling Moss, we lost this weekend as well. Again, I think was blamed on coronavirus. You know,
Sterling Moss, really?
Yeah, Sterling Moss. Yeah. Latest salon vid on BitChute was 404. All right, okay. I didn't know that. On BitChute, is BitChute starting to fucking is BitChute starting to censor people as well? I mean, we've been really relatively untouched. Once or twice we've had little bits of got little oh God. Anyway.
Do you know? I don't know.
You don't know what?
Marvin Gaye.
What about him?
I don't know what's going on.
Hang on.
It's
yeah, I don't want to get. I've just been saying how we've always, you know, we've pretty much got away. And then I put that on. We'll probably get a copyright strike now for just what's going on.
Yeah, Uni Black Sisters just put a thing in. Did I check the one out about the Second World War? No, I didn't actually. It is on my list to watch, that one. To be honest, you know, after all this time now, I'm starting to get really fucking hacked off. You know, we're all sat here for no fucking reason whatsoever, other than we know they're crashing the economy, doing stuff behind our backs, not telling us what's going on, lying to us, saying things are diseases, saying things are catchable when there are more and more doctors coming out and saying they're not. Well, if it's not an agenda, why are those doctors not allowed to be on TV? And the reason is it's because there's an agenda.
Yeah, they don't want
part of the agenda.
They don't want anybody going against the agenda, do they? I mean, it's the same we when we had Brexit and all that. For remember that? Fucking hell! It's like, do you remember the good old days when all the news were about Brexit?
Yeah, yeah, and doesn't it show you that even though we had something as big as Brexit and we never thought there could ever be anything bigger, it's like, you know, we had 9/11, Diana's death, Brexit. You know, it's kind of up there, isn't it?
This?
Oh, I think it overshadows them all.
Oh, yeah, there's a hoax. It does, yeah. Completely, yeah. All what you do, you get people. You say we're sat in because politicians have told us to sit in. It's not that. It's there's not enough of us to tell them to go fuck off. The people the people scared, and so people are not willing to go. Listen, this is a load of bollocks. People aren't prepared to listen to that. They're not prepared to their whole world's come crashing down upon them. Right? They're not going to. The job's gone. Right? If anybody works in service industry, your job's fucking gone. Just about gone, hasn't it? And then it'll just escalate and escalate. But we're only being kept in because there isn't enough people that are prepared to stand up and say, I'm not having this. It's nonsense. If there's a virus, there's been millions of viruses.
Yeah.
All this stuff, and then they're just ain't enough for us. We've got too many pussies. We're a pussy nation. We're a pussy fucking world.
Can you imagine what it's like in Germany at the moment? I mean, are they locked down? I mean, are the Germans really putting up with this? I can't imagine they're the sort of people that would put up with it.
No, I don't know if they are. I don't know if it is locked down in Germany. I know they've cancelled football and all that, usual sort of stuff. I don't know if they're in lockdown. I don't know whether the economy's still going. Which is, if it is, it's going to give them a huge head start when we're all back. And then it's going to be start again from scratch. People who've got infrastructure in place are going to have the advantage, but it's going to be it's starting from fucking zero. Yeah, and that's again, it's another part of the deception to deceive people's pensions. Like you've been talking about, you want to go and live in Thailand, and you're afraid for your pension. Yeah. You should be retiring in a couple of years' time with a decent enough amount of money to be able for you to live in Thailand for the rest of your days, and still leave enough to, wang tongue and family or wherever. And then, you know what I mean? It's, but that again, that's in doubt now. So anybody that's put into these pensions and stuff like that, I always remember when I was at school, when they were talking to us about pensions and getting a pension. So when was that? I left 86. Every time they'd say get a pension, because there won't be anything left in the pot for you when it gets to your turn to claim your state pension. And they're right, but that's come a lot earlier. And now there's nothing left in pot. So what are they doing? There are people. There are stories of where in care homes they've been holding back the medication. They've been told to not give the medication to the people that are in there, and let them take the chances. So there's people on nebulizers that need oxygen. It's been taken away from them. These are all things that I can't confirm, but these are things that I've read about, and these are people. It's coming from more than one source. We got a video I shared on Facebook. A guy you can hear his mum in the background. He's there talking and saying they're trying to get me to say, so we can. It's probably best if we let her slip off. We'll give her some morphine and she'll be fine and she won't be in any pain and comfortable and everything. And he said it's gone from giving, instead of having a course of treatment, she's been put on a pathway. Yeah. And things have been withdrawn from her. Yeah. Medications and stuff like that. And we're in these times where if you say civil rights, it's my right, my human right, you're just going to get walked all over, because that's all been suspended. It's been suspended. No matter what you say, whether you say, it can't be suspended because such and such wrote such and such back in 1600, and that would be unlawful. That's exactly what this is what they're doing. Yep. This is what they're doing. They're taking your rights away. Your rights are gone. They've gone. You can't walk down the street. It's not a free country anymore. Anybody says it's a free country, they're off the tits. Can I jump in my fucking car and go to...
Let me just move out the way a minute. What's it say there?
Obey the law and repeat after me, I am free. Yeah. And that's been imposed upon. It's been imposed upon us. We're not getting. There's no due process. There's just this fake fucking virus that, if what the guys say on some of the videos is true, you can't catch anyway. So, you know, it's a massive robbery, and then we're all just going to start from bottom. Your pension pot will be empty. You've worked all them years and paid into that for fuck all. Yeah. We don't know that yet, but let's just say that's it. Let's hope that's not the scenario. But you know, we are realistic, aren't we?
Yeah.
If nothing else on this show, you know, we try to be at least realistic. Apart from that one guy who keeps on says we're best comedy that he's ever seen. So thank you for that, Mr. What's his name? I mentioned him last time. But he come on and he said he won't miss it because he loves it, and he loves how wank we are and stupid and fat and bold and everything. We wear glasses as well and stuff like that. So he probably he's probably listening now, and it's just where are we? Where's the fucking tipping point? There's got to be one. I think they're probably pushing to find out where it is. That might be what this is.
Yeah, I don't know, but
I know what the tipping point is.
I just cannot get my head around how. If I look out my front, there's a chap next door but one to me. He's certainly out in his front garden an awful lot more than he used to be. I think he's hoovered his car out every day this week. I don't think he's driven it, but he's hoovered it out because I think it gives him something to do outside. There's a chap across the road. He's still doing what his wife tells him he can do. Really nice guy, but again, I think he's jet washed everything, painted everything, cleaned everything, hoovered everything, done the seals on all the gutters. I think every bit of DIY you can possibly think of, he's done. And he's retired, you know, and I think even he's bored because his family that he'd normally see, his grandkids that he'd normally see, clearly he's not seeing, is he? So all the normal interaction with other people that him and his wife would normally have.
No, they're not getting. No.
So even the people who are used to being at home all the time, the majority, because I know some people live alone and hardly see anybody. Oh, hello. Even those people should now be starting to go, hang on a minute, there's something, but they're not. They're not.
No. And listen, I've had a quick message from Paul regarding Germany. Yep. Paul Webster. Okay. From the Webster Report. You remember him, don't you? Guy.
Yeah. Sorry, what's going on?
I think you mentioned a guy called Andy Young earlier on, and that rung a bell. But I couldn't quite get it. Anyway, this is Paul Webster. Webber, he's just sent me this. It says Angela Merkel faces pressure to ease lockdown and reopen schools as Germany's daily COVID-19 death count drops to 126, and cops are attacked with stones and iron bars while trying to enforce social distancing. So that's what's going on. That's probably why we're not hearing about what's going on in Germany, because that sounds good. It sounds like the German people are doing exactly what you expected them to do. You know, what we expected them to do.
Yeah, because I mean, in Germany, unless there's a sign up saying you can do something, you can't. I mean, seriously, I think if you went to a swimming pool in Germany and there wasn't a sign up that said swimming is allowed, I don't think people would swim in it, because that's just the culture. You know, it's a bit like in America. There's a sign up in almost every restaurant and shop anywhere that's a building that the public can be in. It says how many people it's licensed to hold. under fire regulations. It's same in Germany, but we don't have that here.
Well,
So
for what?
Well, in every bar or whatever that I've ever been to in Germany or shop and in America have both had them signs up, you know, how many people you can have, quite prominent, so much that I particularly noticed it. But I don't think I've ever noticed one in a pub, a bar, or a shop.
Really?
In England,
not even clubs. I mean, clubs usually have maximum capacity, and then it has a number.
Yeah, but it might be up in the office where you hang your coat.
No. It's usually displayed. I've seen it displayed.
Oh right,
maximum,
okay.
On doors and that. Maximum capacity. Because, I remember. I looked through all fucking emails today actually, and I found some from 2009. So that's over 11 years ago.
Go on then.
And it would just telling me what I'd got to do, what I was doing that week. And apparently that week I was doing Bamboogie in Wigan. Bamboogie in Wigan. I was doing it on a Thursday, I think I were, and then I were in Wrexham at fucking what that club called in fucking Wrexham. I used to do.
What was I doing then?
Oh. God, I can't remember. It's what it was called.
I wouldn't even have a clue where I was working then. So we've got less people dying. I have had my neighbour who lives sort of diagonally. I will say this. The neighbours who sort of live diagonally across from me, Joe and Karen, they are fantastic. And on, what day is it today? Hang on a minute. Was it last night? Yeah, last night. I'm sort of sat looking at the clock thinking, really ought to put some chicken on the grill. You know, I'm hungry and I really... Anyway, this mad knock at my door. Went, neighbours there with this, like, Pyrex dish full of homemade chicken curry and a naan bread. Right. And I have to say, it was the tastiest food I have eaten in a long time. Years. Absolutely chef quality. I mean, I'm not a curry expert at all. I'm not a curry fan particularly. But it was absolutely gorgeous. And that's the only good thing that's come out of this, is that Joe, and certainly his family now, are a lot more open to what I talk about than they used to be. And Joe's getting really inquisitive, keeps asking me stuff, which is good. So he now does want to know a lot more. Whereas even a couple of weeks ago, probably even a week ago, he'd listen, but you could tell he's not kind of quite bought in. But I think now he definitely has. Definitely. I noticed that him and his wife weren't out clapping on Thursday when the rest of the Muppets were. But they weren't. So he's actually a neighbour that has hopefully started to work stuff out. My son, my God, I thought I learned pretty quick, but Jesus Christ. He is off like a train. He is just sucking this stuff up. And some of the stuff that he's been asking me about, I'm thinking, he shouldn't be asking me about that for about a year yet, you know, and yet he's absolutely on it. So, you know, I mean, I know Lionshare put a thing in the chat room about if we talk to neighbours, and I think often even saying more than hello to neighbours these days is quite rare. And I think this has probably made people more neighbourly. It certainly had. I don't know whether I'd have had that gorgeous meal that I got last night if we hadn't have had this. And I have to say it was fucking awesome food. I mean, really good. But it was more than that. It was the fact that they actually thought about me.
I think Lionshare been trying to guess the club I'm in. I've just looked back at the email. It was Groove in Wrexham. So I were on the. I remember on the second floor. I think we're 80s and 90s. They were 3 floors. So when you went downstairs, when you went in, there were a downstairs floor. And that were like all chart music and stuff like that. Then you went upstairs and the middle floor, and I was in there, and I was doing sort of like 80s and party music. And then there were a 90s bit above, and there were never anybody at 90s. I always remember that. Never anybody. Always. My bit were always full, as you can imagine, because I'm very talented and handsome and sexy. Well, I were at one time anyway. I think I've lost all that talent. Talking about the hospitals as well, I mean, there's a lot of talk that they're not as busy as they as we're led to believe they are. I got this from Ian Crane's. He did a. I think he was talking to somebody from UK Column, but they were a thing that I think I sent to you, didn't I? And he's in a cancer ward, and God bless him. I hope he. I know I've always had my suspicions about Ian Crane. I've never really got. I don't want to get into that now, but I just want to wish him well. If he's, I want to wish him, well, and hope he gets better. And I mean, it didn't sound very good based upon what I heard, but let's hope he gets better. But he did say he was on a cancer ward, and there were 2 people. Him and somebody else on that cancer ward, because he said the other person had just left the ward to give him some privacy while we were making this phone call. So 2 people on a cancer ward. I mean, we're talking about the building hospitals, and so we think, so we see, so we read about the building hospitals.
Sorry, was that hospital spelled FEMACAMP? FEMA camp. Yeah, that's what I thought it was as well.
Yeah, Webby's just put as well. Ian's op went okay because he had an operation, I think, yesterday.
Oh, right, okay.
Ian's op went okay. He's breathing on his own. Last I heard earlier today. So yeah, good. Yeah, God bless you, Ian. So yeah, moving on.
Trisha Morticia's put a good one in as well, and this one I'm trying to find from earlier. Keep asking people how many people do they know that have died.
I don't know anybody.
I don't know anybody. Can you remember when they first started the National Lottery? Within a month, they said everybody would know somebody that had won. And they were right. Because everybody won a tenner.
Because it were in fucking papers.
Yeah.
That's all they ever did, weren't it? Remember when it first come, that's first £17 million, I think it were a treble rollover or something.
Yeah.
Back in the day, and it were won by this Asian bloke, and the fucking son, the amount of vitriol that were in it were almost as if it had written had written the front page as Sooty wins fucking so I think that we're in Viz. I think we're in Viz like a thing about it, like a
parody.
But yeah, it was won by an Asian bloke. But you see, he wanted to remain anonymous, and they still found him.
Yeah.
And this is first picture of him, and it were on front page at Sunny. It were a grainy photo that you couldn't really tell who on him. It always been took from a photo of a bunch of people that were in it, and it were just ridiculous. Looking back on it, it was just completely ridiculous, and I don't know why I participated in it by reading it and giving it energy, because it were a complete and utter fucking waste of time. Most I ever won on the lottery about 10 years ago was 82 quid. Well done to you, Ron. I think I won £7,000 once. No, I didn't.
Graham, son of John. Don't know who that is. Graham, son of John.
It's Graham. It's Graham. Don't you know him? It's his dad, John. Surely.
Oh, do I?
Yeah, you do. You know John, don't you?
Graham and John. Graham, yeah, John and Graham.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think I won 777 quid on a scratch card once. But, yeah, there you go. Back in the day and all. It bought me a really nice suit that I wore a couple of times, and it made me look like him at Hopkirk, Randall and Hopkirk deceased.
You were the deceased one.
Yeah, I'm the one in the really light coloured suit.
Yeah. Well, something else I picked up on. This got me a bit. Apparently, Apple and Android are working on an application that will tell you if you've been in contact with anybody who has since died of coronavirus. But don't worry, the good news is on the next update to your device, this will automatically be included in the background and you won't have to download the application.
Oh yeah. That one where if you come into contact with somebody. I mean, how are they going to know if they've come into contact with somebody? How are they going to disseminate that? Are they going to get your phone number when you go? It's just.
Well, this is the sort of level of information that they're going to need the 5G for, isn't it? If what they're basically saying is every time one of these goes within 2 meters of another one, because that's effectively how they're going to do it at the moment.
Yeah.
Till we all get chipped with the vaccination. That's the sort of level of information that's just the tip of the iceberg. Just the tip of the iceberg.
They're using it in Israel aid.
What's that?
I don't know.
No, this application.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's all going to be put on everyone's phones, isn't it? Apparently, it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Fucking bastards wanting to everybody's life, every little part of your life. But are they shooting themselves in the foot? I wonder. Because we don't know what to make of what's going on, do we? We don't even know what's going on.
We don't even know what's going on.
South said two people. He knows two people in their 80s. Definitely from COVID, was it? Or was it just on the popped on the death certificate? The chat room just goes too fast.
Yeah,
Kelly is nice.
I'm trying to read it, and I'm
sorry. It is, isn't it?
But apparently
extremely close to me.
I've got to say this. Bright 77. What's all that? Fucking taking 5 things up. Bollocks. Can't read it quick enough as it is. Can't read it.
Yes, stop that if you can. Right, please. Cannot test for COVID. The Webster report. There you go.
You can't.
Well, can't you?
Well, the way I look at it is this. I was told, and you've got to hear me out to hear both halves of this, that coronavirus, even the one that we're supposed to have, this COVID-19 comes from a family of that are called coronavirus, and some of the symptoms are flu-like. Yep. But I'm also told, in the early days of this, by doctors, certainly on the telly, that said things like, well, it's just like a lot of other coronaviruses, but this particular strain affects your lungs. So, if that's the case, the guy who did this so-called test, even though he was a lung cancer specialist, and he said it's not a test for COVID-19 or coronavirus, because what he did, he took genetic material from the lungs of 2 patients, or a handful of patients, let's say, not certainly in single figures. But he didn't isolate any bacteria, any virus, or anything. He didn't then inject it into somebody who was healthy and get them to have symptoms, and then get some of theirs and infect them into somebody else, which apparently since for about 100 years has been the gold standard as to how to isolate a virus. Okay? But that's not been done. And the guy who manufactured or started this so-called test that they're using for COVID-19 apparently said, don't use it for that because that's not what it's for. But that's the test they're using. Plus, because of all the things that it hasn't achieved. I reckon that the false positive, even if it was testing positive for COVID-19 rather than just some genetic material, there's an 80 to 90% chance of a false positive. So that would tell me that the test wouldn't work. Then you flip that on the head and listen to what people have been telling us certainly in the last couple of weeks, which is you can't catch a virus. A virus is merely your body flushing out the shit. And a lot of these things we've already got in us. So whatever happens, this test thing that we're supposed to all be going to have or whatever is bollocks. Whichever side of the medical side of it you believe, it's bollocks.
Yeah. Go on, you carry on.
But that's my point. It doesn't matter which side of the medical thing that you're on, it's bollocks. Because neither side works. Because the guy that actually made this bloody test apparently said, don't use it for that. It's not what it's for. It's not to test for that. The only thing, because of how it was done, that you can test for is this genetic material. You know, and I've then heard stories of people who have, it's the people on the ventilators that are dying, and the people who are not on ventilators, they're not dying. But what do you believe? The one thing we can't believe is the bollocks that's coming out of the fucking BBC. I do know that.
Yeah.
And I think this whole thing with the numbers of how many people are dying, the only number that we can say has got any chance of being right is the total amount of deaths per day. Not of COVID-19 or Corona or any other fucking beer, but total deaths in a day. And then compare that to last year and the year before and the year before, and allow into that the increase in population that we've no doubt had. That's the only figure that really can be any use to us, because all of the others all depend on somebody saying somebody died of something. Well, as far as I know,
get Harold Shipman to fucking fill all.
I was just going to say that. I was absolutely just going to say that, because doctors, one of the things that they're told when they're doing a death certificate is that there's only one way, and then not always, but there's only one way of ever being certain of how somebody died. And that's if you do a post-mortem on them. Now, if I walked into a pub and there was a guy laid in the corner with a bullet hole in his head, half of his back of his head missing, and he's laid on the floor in a pool of blood, he could have actually died of a heart attack. A split second before somebody shot him. But he could have done. So the only sure way of knowing is to cut him open and find out. And do the tests. That's the only definite way of knowing. Because what doctors are not told to do is write down flu-like symptoms because of COVID-19. When they're being trained, like as a doctor, they're told you don't bring any assumptions in because you can't be sure of how somebody died. So you could assume that the guy got shot in the head and died from that, but without cutting him open. So on the death certificate, on that one, it's got to be left down to the guy who did the coroner's report, the coroner. But when you've got all these people dying and doctors are being told to write on, listen, if they came in hospital after March the 19th or 21st or whatever, you've got to test them for this test that don't work. And by the way, if it comes back with anything on it at all, even if they had flu-like symptoms, COVID-19, that's what they died of. And apparently that's what's got to go on the death certificate. Well, Since when have doctors been allowed to put conjecture on a death certificate? They can't.
Yeah, well, they can't, can they? I mean, they're not really supposed to.
No conjecture at all. But this isn't conjecture. It's an instruction. That's what they're being told to put.
Yeah. So anybody who dies, I mean, they don't even have to test them. They just say, well, it will probably COVID-19.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. You know, and John, my mate, who's a singer-songwriter, he spoke to him a couple of weeks ago, and he said he had a group of people who always, and I know the group of people he was talking about, and wanted out this group, 6 of them were supposed to have got it. And this was 3-4 weeks ago, and then, you know, he said one of them had died of it. But again, did he? Is that what he died of?
Yeah.
You know.
It's the same with Tim Brooke Taylor and Sterling. I mean, Sterling Moss was 91. Somebody corrected me earlier on. And to say he's died of coronavirus, it's an easy, you know what I mean? It's an easy score on their part. They don't have to do with coronavirus. They don't have to do any. Let's just fucking bury him and you know, and let people do what they're going to do when they've lost somebody. But I don't know if you saw the picture that Richard D. Hall put up speaking of funerals. I think let me see if I can find it. I'll find it at some point. We're on Facebook. Let me see if I can find it. It was about the funeral. His mum's just died. Apparently, and the funeral's tomorrow, I think. Come on, I'm trying to search it. Fucking search.
You know, my mate's mum's she's died about 4 weeks ago, and I've not spoken to Neil in the past couple of days, so I don't know what's happened with her funeral and stuff yet. But he did say to me it was going to have to be like him, his dad, and his brother, and that was it. So, you know, not even being allowed to go say to your loved ones properly. And it's not just about standing 2 meters from each other. All this, I mean, I haven't seen my daughter in 3 weeks. I've not
seen mine for more than 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. But if you notice, it's like you said, Jason. People are not dying from COVID-19. They're dying after testing positive for it.
Yeah, with
it.
Yeah. There we go. Let me just open this up and I'll show you. This is the picture somebody sent him of what they're going to the crematorium.
No way.
That's the crematorium, yeah. That was a picture he sent. That's where he posted it anyway. So it's fucking ridiculous.
Fucking hell, man.
It's just completely and utterly ridiculous. I don't know. I think.
Well, they just opened fucking oven door and chuck every cunt in. Right?
Well,
because that's what they want, innit?
Yeah, gas chambers for a lot of it. Well, just fucking, there'll be FEMA camps, like you said.
Yeah.
These FEMA camps, and then there'll be only certain people allowed to do certain things and work and stuff, and you'll get privilege. It'll like being in prison. It's just like it is now. We're just not allowed visitors. So these prisoners are allowed visitors. Well, they used to be anyway. We're not even allowed fucking visitors. But our next door neighbour, yesterday, when his family came round, and when they were leaving, there were 5 of them. And I thought to myself, well, fucking good for you. But just how they can justify it and how we can fucking... How we can just stop, just allow this to all happen is completely fucking beyond me. And we're at the 13th of April. We've just missed a huge bank holiday weekend, which would have been, if they'd have let it be, it would have been fucking lovely. But the whole weekend, you would have been out, all your biker mates would have been out.
Yeah. 300 a day would have died more.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, can you imagine, I don't know, pick a seaside town.
Scary.
Southend. Actually, it's not Southend on Sea, is it? It's Southend on Mud. Well, it was last time I was there. Skegness, you could pick any seaside town. And can you imagine? I mean, I can remember going to a seaside town on the weekend before bank holiday, and there was a fish and chip shop. The weekend before Easter. And I walked in and ordered cod and chips, and the guy said, "Sorry, we've no fish till next week."
What?
No fish till next week. Because a lot of the fish and chip shops that are actually on the coast, Easter is their big start.
Yeah.
That's when they're going to start making money. They're going to start, buying fish. Because what they don't want to do is buy a load of fish. It rains. Nobody fucking turns up. And being at the seaside, it's walking, passing trade. It's not locals. It's a different. Like the chippy around the corner from your house is, every Easter it doesn't have an extra 100,000 possible customers, does it?
No,
because you don't live at the seaside. But imagine what sort of devastation them businesses like that are looking at now. Up until this weekend, seaside towns and that have only suffered as much as we have. Not now. Now they would have all been starting to roll.
They've missed a huge part of their yearly income.
Huge amount. Part of their massive amount.
Perhaps about 25% of their yearly income.
Yeah. And if you think that how many people 6 weeks ago or even a month ago were thinking, oh, it's all right, all these people having to fly back into the country, doesn't matter. British holidays. Everybody was on a British holiday this year, and the British holiday industry will do all right. Well, that didn't work out very well, did it? Because now nobody's going on holiday, because nobody's got any money to go. And even if they had, they couldn't go.
No.
Because we're not going to be allowed.
But perhaps they'll lift, they maybe will lift the lockdown regulations that appear to be in place at the moment, although I weren't fucking asked about them, whether I agree to them or not. But if they soften that down, it will then only be the big companies that are allowed to open. They'll be the ones that have adhered to this new policies that they want. They've got somebody who's mopping floor all the time, and they've got fucking what they call checkouts 2 meters away from each other, and shit like that. That people they might soften it up a bit and open up just some little bit, and then all these little businesses are crushed. They're all crushed anyway. I can't stand the fact that they've just fucking and the big ones, they'll survive. Of course they'll survive. They've got all that stock and a lot of the stock that's not don't go away. It's not food. It don't go off.
Well, I was thinking today, you got these TV shopping channels. How long before they're going to run out of stock? So once they've run out of stock, their ability to make a profit is gone. Because first rule of business, take money. So if you've got then, and I think even they're going to be, we're going to be taking pre-orders. Well, you don't get any money for a pre-order until it's fulfilled. And it's all right saying, you know, things like, oh, well, when they've run out of EastEnders, and because I think they've stopped filming those apparently, haven't they? You know,
Yeah.
that'd be right in the Queen Vic, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they've stopped them all.
Can I have a pint of beer, please? No.
Yeah, stand 2 meters over here.
Yeah.
Don't splash.
Yeah. You know, so it's just, I don't know. It's mad. What's going on?
What is going on? I don't know. I mean, we might have Webby coming on and telling us in a bit. I've sent him a link just in case he wants to jump on.
Well, I'll tell you what is going on.
Go on. We're in prison. We're all being imprisoned in our own homes.
Yeah.
And we're applauding it. And we're standing with his pots and pans fucking robot fucking thing, bashing it. And the rainbow. What the fuck does a rainbow have to do with it? Everything's got a fucking rainbow on it. Why? What is it with rainbows and shit like that? I look out of my fucking window, this window in this orifice, over back, and because it's high up, and I can see over back, and I can see in windows, and there's all these people with this "stay safe," and these drawn, you know, kids have drawn a
rainbow.
Rainbow, yeah. Come on, you've got to do something with your hands while you're talking.
Did you know Zippy and George were the same voice bloke? That's why George always went goodbye at the end.
He went what? All right, okay.
Zippy and George, it was the same bloke that did the voice.
Right, okay.
So that's why George always went goodbye after everybody else had already said goodbye.
Right. Well, see, we're all learning something tonight. It's every day's a fucking school day, Aid.
And I know that because, God, how many years ago? Years ago, when I was up at Viking FM, we had him in to do some voiceover stuff. I tell you who else we had in that day as well. Brian, Tetley makes tea bags, make tea. Brian,
I know what you mean. Off Kes.
Yeah, it was teacher in Kes.
Brian can't.
Hey?
Fucking can't remember him.
Brian can't. The black guy.
I know, but it's just Brian can't.
No, Brian. Hey?
Yeah, I know, I remember him, but it's just the name. Can't.
Yeah. Can't.
From London, his name was Brian Can't.
You're talking about fucking Brian Glover.
Brian
Glover. Yeah.
What a top man. Absolute gentleman. Just a lovely man. Lovely man.
Awesome. Well, we've been joined. We're now a threesome. We're a tag team. Good evening, Webby. How you doing, mate? What's going on?
What is going on, mate? I mean, FFS. OMG, FFS. I really don't know where to start with this stuff, man, because the information that I'm getting about things like death certificates can be presumed. You know, we don't have to know what somebody's died from now. We can just presume it. With councils getting involved with funeral arrangements, building their own crematoriums, and legislation that now says if people are starting to question this, only one medical professional, not 3 doctors, need to agree to section someone. Now, Jason, Ed, you know what this Mental Health Act can do to people. You've seen it right up front. Yet this Mental Health Act now states that one medical professional, perhaps doctor, perhaps, but one medical professional can section someone. Wouldn't that be everybody gets a narrative? It used to have to be 3 people. Now now it's only 2, and one of them has to be a doctor. The other one's either a social worker or police or something like that. And who would you trust? Who would you trust?
Look, I wouldn't trust a fucking social worker, I'll tell you that. Just on this point, Richard Kinsey, he's put a point of order. They were 2 separate gents that lived together, 2 roads away from my cousin. I saw them once in the 80s. I think he's talking about Zippy and George. So, That were two separate
No,
blokes.
Bungle. Zippy and
Do you know,
George were the same bloke.
everybody thinks that Bungle was the idiot. He was the mastermind, Bungle. Let me tell you, Bungle was the mastermind.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Go on, carry on anyway, Webber. Yeah, you were saying about this with mental health. Like they've just we know how powerful that as a tool, as a weapon that can be, and now it's been increased. It's like gone from a 45 to a 50 fucking millimeter gun, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, I had it with a colleague today where the colleague kept saying, "Yeah, but this is different strain. Yeah, but this is different strain." I went, "Listen to what I'm saying. This is an invisible enemy." Donald Trump tells you near enough every time he comes on telly, it's an invisible enemy. We can't test for COVID-19. Nobody's died of COVID-19. Presumptually, they have. But nobody's died of COVID-19. Nobody has died of corona unless it's put on the death certificate, which is now can be presumed without testing for corona, that pneumonia can be classed as corona, diabetes can be classed as corona because this virus can exacerbate the diabetes. So we now see a big expansion on vagueness. So if you then take the legislation that without symptoms you can spread this virus, and then you take the legislation.
That's what Mr. Whitby says every night. Anybody can spread coronavirus.
Then you take that the police have got, I don't know, 6 cents to say, I suspect you have corona. You've no symptoms, but I suspect, so I'm going to detain you under the coronavirus bill. Once detained, they can quarantine you for 2 weeks. Do you think they're going to test? Okay, let's say they test you while you're in quarantine for 2 weeks. Have you had flu? Yes, I've had flu in my life. Right, the antibodies that created the virus in your body that fought off the infection has stored antibodies that could test positive. So you test positive for corona. Okay, well, you tested positive. We're going to let you go, though, because you're not showing any signs. We've kept you for 2 weeks. You're not shedding now, so we'll give you an immunity passport. How about a vaccine? And if you've had the flu vaccine that contains the coronavirus, could you possibly test positive for coronavirus if you've had coronavirus injected into you? Virologists have told me that the only way I can give you a virus is to inject it into you. Precisely. And we're going and injecting this. I've just seen a document today about SARS, where the vaccine for SARS exacerbated this lung respiratory infection that caused that infection. And it was the vaccine. There's links to that. And Aid, how many times have you pointed out the Vaccine Damage Fund has paid out $4.1 billion in dollars? Is that worldwide or just America? I don't know.
But just imagine how high that bar is. Can you imagine?
That's not including the ones. That's not including the kids that are still struggling.
The point I'm making, Webby, is if they've paid over 400, what is it?
$4.1 billion in damages.
4.1 billion. Fucking hell. Imagine how high that bar is to actually receive the payment. I mean, to try and prove that a vaccine has done you damage.
And how much of the establishment are you up against?
Yes.
At the first hurdle to prove that.
Yeah, exactly. So how hard is it to actually prove that? So the amount of people, Jason, I've got to ask.
He's muted.
Is he muted?
What's up?
Are you muted?
He's not
muted.
You were just looking at the camera like that. You were going.
Just having a waz, man.
I just wish you'd turn your camera off when you do it.
You wheeled in on the commode. Are you on the commode there?
No, I'm having a waz. I've got my pot.
Oh, okay.
Please don't show. No. Fucking hell.
Mate, I've had a Skype conversation with him in the bath when he had both legs. Doesn't faze me anymore.
Oh, anyway, go on. You two were having a good
Anyway.
Oh, till you fucking stop that.
Yeah, so no, what was I saying?
Before Jason's cock interrupted, go on.
I don't know what I was saying.
You were on about how high the bar was to be able to.
Oh yeah, for the compensation scheme.
See, I was listening.
Yeah.
See, just because I wasn't, it didn't mean to say I weren't listening.
Yeah, but it was the look on your face because it's like we are the tile in the public toilet when you do that. You know the one that's just, you know, when you're there, like,
mate. Do you know what? Jason's one of those lads that'll come and stand right in the middle of the piss stones and look at your dick and talk to you at the same time while you're going, I can't piss while you're stood here with you. He's that man. He is that man.
I know he is.
Enough about.
Imagine how high that bar is. Sorry, we can edit this out. Sorry.
We never do.
No. God knows how many people, some illegitimately, I'm sure, but legitimate cases, never, ever get anywhere near. And I just wonder what the ratio is. 1 in 10, 1 in 100. Be interesting to know how many people actually get paid out as to how many people start the process. That would be an interesting.
That would be that would be a big percentage. I think that
would be an interesting number to look at, wouldn't
it? To think that 4.1 billion has been paid out, and then you think, well, where was that up to, and who started claims before that period, and everybody had been paid out? Because I know for a fact, seeing as when was it? We started this bout of council tax, and we have just been told that we can get a date for High Court this year. We've not been given a date, but we're told we can have one now. The same post aid, one letter saying, no, you can't do that. No, we're not doing that. We can't facilitate that. That is completely out of, we can't do it. And then the second letter in the second post went, yeah. We can show you the date because this is the game that they play and they unpack. So the fact that they've paid out 4.1 billion means how many other, for God's sake, Hollywood has shown us Erin Brockovich. How long did that take? How meticulous was that? It's to show something. I'm getting I don't know if you two guys have seen this documentary that's come out called Out of Shadows, which is quite Hollywood. Have you seen it, either of you?
No.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen it. Yeah, ain't that guy that were a stuntman?
Yes.
Yeah, now, I've seen it. Yeah.
Now he's presented it in a way that shows connections with paedophilia, shows connections with the establishment, shows connections right through Hollywood. And it's talking about stuff, but yet people are still barracking it. The David Icke interview that went on Sunday, which was taken off, I've sent it to you, Ed, today, and Jason.
Yeah.
So you can download it before it is gone. It's like, Jason, I can't remember what show you hit the nail on the head, but you said about David Icke, he seems to take it to a certain point. And I've checked out all his information, and there's a lot of great information there. But he takes it to a point, and then maybe dances about to not give you away too much, and you've got to try and work that out, which makes a lot of people go, he's a gatekeeper. It's. I think we're all at this stage now because, you mentioned earlier Ian Crane. Jace, where you've openly said that you weren't, he played this game, he played that game, but when I've spoken to him, when I've interviewed him, he's spoken about good information. He's had some good basis to it. It's the same with all the dealings I've had with the guys from UK Column or all these gatekeepers who do this. I get good information. John Wedger, another one. He talks about information that's never been spoken about. You've got to listen to these people. You've got to take that information in. If you are going to cut yourself off from any information, you're ignorant. That doesn't mean you're stupid. It means you're ignorant. It's when I show you information that you've never seen, and I say, have you seen this? You go, that's nonsense. Why don't you read it? No, it's bollocks. It's nonsense. I am seeing man after man, woman after woman who are doing that now. That's nonsense. Why don't you read it? And you see it building up more and more. And then you look at the general public who are out, like Jason said earlier, banging pans and clapping hands. And you're going, what the fuck? The only thing that the guys in the prison service, one of the memes that were put up was like, instead of going out and clapping your hands for the NHS, go out on a Wednesday, knock on your next door neighbour, shout through the crack of the door, can you give us a skinny burn, mate? Do something that'll make, what? That's what I deal with. Can I have a toilet roll? No, we've run out. Have a squaddy wash. All this kind of stuff. But the prison service is never recognised. I know people who've gone to emergency hours. They've finished a 12-hour shift. They've gone to the supermarket. No, you're not emergency service. And they're sent on the way. I don't understand how people are taken out like this and saying they're emergency, they're not. Everything is emergency right now, because if people can't see that structure that is going on around them, they don't know history, they're watching Love Island, and after only 3 weeks, they still think they're on holiday. We've just been told today that the banks are going to loan us this money. How are they going to do that, guys? They're not going to print. Okay, some people will say, Jimmy would say, they're just going to print money. Yeah, you're holding that keyboard up. They're just going to print money. That collateral has to be backed by something, because it's fraud otherwise. Those promissory notes have got to be backed. What are they going to be backed by? They're going to be backed by this. And if you don't pay it back, they're going to take away all your shit, just like they did with Greece. When Greece couldn't pay it back, we'll take over all your infrastructure. That's always been the central banking system. They then want to go cashless. So that means you can't do a deal with your next door neighbour for a little bit, because if you've not got the correct password, code, maybe a card or eventual biometric chip, which Bill Gates is going to offer you a vaccine so you can travel around on with a biometric chip with all your details on that can be tracked. They're openly talking about this yesterday on Good Morning Britain. I don't know what to say to the general public when you map that out, because this isn't Stalin, this isn't Mao, this isn't Hitler, this isn't even Churchill. This is like all of that put together, but still people.
No, Robbie, I think the thing is, mate, people don't need a Churchill, people don't need a Boris, people don't need a Trump, because all that's been cut out now, because the orders come from the banks openly now, just like you've said. The orders come from the banks straight onto your TV screen.
And there's no distractions there. There's no football. There's no rugby. It's just, you're going to die.
Yeah.
Right in the corner of your living room, you're going to die. And then the 50s plan comes on and says, leave some money for your family.
And by the way, if you don't know how to leave a will, we will pay for it for you.
As long as you leave us some money.
We can offer you.
As long as you're going to leave us some money, that's what RSPCA are doing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we're
going to be lower. We'll be lower.
We call it willpower. Fucking hell. They even had a fucking NLP slogan for it. Willpower.
Well, Watson just jumped up on my lap and then proceeded to fart, which I heard. and then I smell, and so he's been now banished downstairs. So them RSPCA people, they can fuck off if they think they're getting out of my will. And anyway, well, nobody's going to have out anyway. Nobody's property is going to be worth out. It's it's just all going to be fucking dead. It's going to be gone. It's going to have to start again. What do we do? Does that mean prices go back down to like 18th century?
Well, let's look at it this way. If you offer this theory, all this money is going to be loaned out, so the government can subsidise all these people whose businesses have gone. They're going to subsidise all this, but that's all got to be paid back. In now, where you've got no businesses, you've got no people with skills, you've got people who have got degrees in things that could only work in the old system, and then all of a sudden you've got to create a new system. Well, this is everything about problem, reaction, solution. This is just, they've created a big problem in 3 weeks with our voluntarism. They've created a situation globally where some countries have gone a little bit bolder than what Boris has. Boris has just got resurrected on Easter Sunday. The Filipino president,
praise be to Jesus.
Exactly, the Filipino president said, "You leave your fucking house, I'll shoot you dead." So globally, around the world, reality, wherever you want to look, there's a big push in every fucking country to take this to a new level. So it's showing you the hands that are playing this game. That is not conspiracy theory, because you can go and read what they call white papers. And in those white papers, they tell you what they're going to do, what they plan to do, what they envisage, what theories they could bring. It's all there. But Love Island's on.
I have to sort of give out a warning in the chat room. Uni Black Sister, that's your final warning for mentioning fucking Star Wars. You fucking anorak.
Listen, I can only do Star Wars 4, 5, and 6. They're the best.
I can remember going to see the first one at the cinema. It was the last thing they showed before they shut it and fucking bulldozed it. And I came out thinking, I ain't got a fucking clue what that was all about. And
I went to see Rotherham. No. I went to see it at Rotherham. I got a poster on my wall that were them in the aluminium Falcon.
Aluminium Falcon.
Pure.
Is that the same aluminium Falcon they flew to the moon in?
That's the one. The aluminium Falcon. Yeah, that's the one. They used aluminium because it was lighter than Millennium.
Do you know what? They didn't have that hyperdrive developed at that stage as well, so it took them 3 days to get to that moon.
A full 3 days.
A full 3 days, even though that the timestamp data says we're still in moon's orbit 2 days before.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. None of this matters. You pick out discrepancies. Sane, common sense people that that's a load of bollocks. Everybody knows it. It's fucking
everybody
rubbish.
knows that.
It's bollocks. It's absolute rubbish what people are talking. I've had people going, yeah, but, and it's like it's like you get to a point where you're gonna delete something, and then the hard drive goes and goes back and starts repeating. We used to have old records, didn't we, that would just keep jumping. You know, older people won't understand that, but you'd be sat there maybe 100 yards away from your record player, and you're getting into it, and then it starts skipping, and you're going, go on, just keep going, it'll do it. Oh, you bastard. And you end up going to it, punching fuck out of it.
You see, the thing for me, Webby, is, when, take my sister, you're just a conspiracy theorist. And yet, she's intelligent. She can see this shit going on. She's the one looking after my 82-year-old mum. And the work that she puts in, mate, I can't speak highly enough of her. But
second to none.
You once said, you met somebody in the supermarket, and an hour and a half later you'd done Free Man on the Land, you'd done da-da-da, and you've been through every
mortgages, banks, the lot.
Yeah, right. you pick a subject, any subject, and I can then say how we would look at it as opposed to how the everyday Joe on the street would look at it. Pick any.
Yes.
I'm not trying to catch you out.
Yeah.
Pick a subject.
No, definitely.
Pick a subject, anything.
5G.
Yeah.
5G.
It's obvious. But you can pick something like, I don't know, a band playing. You know, and I would say, well, they've had to buy all the bloody equipment, which is all taxed. Well, why do they need to pay that tax? That tax is not necessary because of all the money that government wastes, yada, 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 yada. There's all sorts of ways you can look at it. But if you actually dare to mention to somebody that they actually might want to think for themselves or even have an open mind to think, it's the Robbie Williams thing, isn't it? Contemplating, thinking about thinking. You know, for them to even think about contemplating that they might need an open mind, just don't happen. Just don't happen. It's not there.
I've had to. No, that's wrong. That's not. I've not had to prize open minds, but when you have there was an instance, a conversation today where somebody was debating with me, but they weren't hearing what I was saying. And they kept saying, but this is a new strain. This is a new strain, and it's causing respiratory issues. I went, we've had loads of strains that cause these respiratory issues. 80% of people have respiratory issues with this strain or any other strains. What I'm saying is the statistics are the same, and people are being told they're dying of COVID-19 that can't be tested for. Donald Trump keeps telling us it's the invisible enemy, but he wasn't hearing that. And somebody who was still in a little bit of a panic mode was listening to what I was saying. And she had to say, you're not hearing what he's saying. It's that these figures are obviously, do you know what? Professionals do not come out and show death certificates on YouTube time and time and time and time and time again, and showing that, you know, .gov legislation, CDC legislation is stating you can presume he's died with corona. Jason said it earlier, is it with or is it of? And on top of that percentage, Ed, I want to know how many of those have had the flu jab, because they stated if you've had the flu jab, you should be sensible and isolate for 12 weeks. With the SARS vaccine, the SARS outbreak, they said the vaccine, and I posted the documents today, the vaccine exacerbated respiratory issues. People have had the flu vaccine. It contains coronavirus. I've posted those documents as well. If people can't make a connection here, I'm lost for words. I don't know what to say to you, because if you put in the banking system on top of that and trying to pay bills, you've been fucked from your cradle right up until bye-bye.
You know, and that, I know you just sort of mentioned bye-bye, but for how many people are now sat thinking, well, what's the point in fucking being here?
The point to being here is to wake up to what is going on. In my opinion, it's to wake up to what the fuck is going on, because when I was brought into this world, my mum and dad taught me a game, if you like, and they taught me certain rules in that game. I decided that there was a game plan for me, and I could play that game, and I could get married, and I could do all my wants and my needs, and I could play football, and I could go and get pissed, and I could still cover all those bills as long as I've got a game plan. And then all of a sudden, that system turns and says, yeah, we've had enough of that. We're going to take this, 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 and this off you. And I had the people, the knowledge, because it was a lot of it was given to me. But then I had the inclination to go and research, and I put all this stuff together, and I realized that the game is stacked. And then I realized that everybody in history has always been telling us this. You've just got to find the information. But if you look at a certain spectrum of information, shall we say, you can formulate an opinion, and that becomes a belief, and then you say, that's it, I know life. Whereas I've done that so many fucking times and then landed up on my face with my face in the concrete, and somebody's picked me up with my arm, gone, how do you feel? I'm going, fucking shite. Because I know that everything is stacked against me, and the most that I ever know is how little I know. Because I said it, I fucking know, when I started doing this, I said, if I controlled somebody else's information, they would shit in their car and travel to work in their toilet. And everybody else would think that was really funny because they're idiots. Well, guess what? There's just a lot of fucking idiots. That is not derogatory. You're ignorant of information. I've shown people information, and I think one of the best ones was, again, another colleague, when 9/11 happened, he had a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and he went, fuck me, that's not right. Fucking hell, I better take this lad to here, and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, life moved on. And 6 years ago, he just mentioned, he went, you've been going about this 9/11. Do you really think? I went, oh, I can't go through this, mate. You know, I've done this to death. I said, look at that, look at that, look at that. See what you think. Anyway, on Netflix, he found a documentary that started something. I sowed the seed. He went and watered it, and he saw one documentary for an hour and a half, and he come back in, and he come up to me, and he went, Webby, I want a word with you about 9/11. I went, here we go. And he literally went, how the fuck did they get away with that? And and he openly admitted, I had a 2-year-old, 4-year-old. I was playing rugby as well, part-time at the time. I was working. Life took over. So if you've got all that distraction, and then somebody, while you're being distracted, somebody's going, hey, don't worry about that. I've got it covered. I'll look after your little girl while you do that. Can you imagine how distinct that is from, yeah, look, I'll turn your light off, to I'll look after your kids? If you put that into a system where the system says, no, I want your children from 2 years old, and then you look at the dictators of the past that says, give me the children and I will create a nation. This is history, and now we're in a technocratic state where people are going, 5G's bad. We'll go and set fire to 5G towers. So some people are doing that because that's where they're at. Us three sit around going, fucking hell, what the fuck is going on? Because
I don't.
Do you know?
Sit around thinking that. No, I start thinking about other things.
Like what?
Like what they're going to do next, what sort of idiotic thing they're going to do next, like perhaps dig Roy Castle out and say he was the first victim of coronavirus, Roy Castle, and then bring him back to life.
No, they can't. They can't.
He can sing isolation. That's what you need if you want to be best.
He's bad,
I wouldn't mind that.
Do you know why? Do you know why they can't bring Roy Castle back? Because they used him for secondary smoking. That's why they can't do that.
Oh yeah,
they've already used him. Secondary smoking. My mum said that's a load of bollocks. My mum said, because she was a smoker, a fucking 40 a day smoker at one point. That's a load of bollocks. You can't get cancer from secondary smoking. Again, somebody who I trusted with my life had information that wasn't quite correct. It could have been correct in certain circumstances, but let's weigh things up, Mum, you know. And when I started to weigh things up about everything that I've been taught, the stuff that I had weighed up was completely outweighed by what I didn't know. And I want to know those things. But when somebody calls me names for asking a question or says that's a load of bollocks, that's not helpful. It really isn't, and that just makes me. It just makes me worse.
One thing that you mentioned, but I'd just let you keep going when you were talking about money, and they were saying that people are going to be handed this free money from the government. No, they're not.
There's no such thing.
Because here's what I believe will happen eventually.
They're gonna fucking gear made his pension money, aren't they? That's what they're doing.
They'll never find it.
Else's.
Listen, Aidy's not got paper. Aidy's got it fucking in the way in. Arsenal. Fucking proper stuff.
Okay.
Sadly.
Or was it arseholes in Thailand? I don't know.
Well, they've got all these people being promised 80% of this, and you're going to get that, and da 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 da. Right, okay. Maybe in the very, very short term that might happen. They've already said self-employed people. That's going to be June. But this just ain't going to happen because this money doesn't exist. This is not just accounting. This is just beyond any kind of what's the nearest thing that people would have heard of? Quantitative easing. This is fucking miles beyond that. So what I believe will happen is, in the short term, that's how people will be appeased. But then, very quickly, what will happen is, well, we're going to have to cut that back a bit. And then it'll be, fucking hell, none of this works. We need a complete new financial system. All you peasants, you can all start at fuck all or next to fuck all. And we've got all your houses and your money because we've just spent the past 6 months grabbing it all.
Well, Aidy, who would you say owns the NHS? If the NHS ran as it should, who would you say owned it? It would be a public trust, wouldn't it?
It should be, yeah.
And it'd be run as a public trust, and that's nothing at all like what it's being run as, because you've got private partnerships. Those private partnerships want to make money. If you do not log something onto a system as a job, as a customer, they won't get paid, so they won't do it. So the more you privatize, the more locked down it becomes. Whereas if you publicized everything would have to work for the public. That is why everything is twisted.
One number I heard bandied about, well, I think it was on an Ike thing somebody sent me, or a snippet of. Apparently, if you go into hospital and you've got, which you're going to have, COVID-19 or whatever, the trust get 13 grand. If you end up on a ventilator, his name's Branson. The other one's a fucking pickle, for fuck's sake. Come on.
He knows that. He knows that. James Howe knows that. It's humour. Del Boy calls him Richard Branston, doesn't he?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he does. Yeah.
It's humour. Humour.
It's humour. So fucking get on with it.
So like anyway, humour, but not.
If you end up, if you go in hospital, they get 13k. If you end up on a ventilator, they get 39. Well, fucking guess what's happening? Lots of people are going on a ventilator. Good, isn't it?
But we haven't got any ventilators. That's what I keep getting told. That's why there's all these deaths. Somebody brought up, right? Are you two aware of Potter's Field?
Are we what?
Potter's Field. Have you ever heard of Potter's Field?
No.
Are we what of it? A what? What's the word?
Hang on. How do you say Potter's Field in Yorkshire? It's Potter's Field.
Potter's Field.
I'm talking about the Potter's Field bit. I'm talking about, he said, are we aware?
Or would you say aware?
Aware.
Yeah, of course, that's what it is.
Well, it's not aware like East Yorkshire.
Okay.
Like nines and fives and nurse, not that kind of Yorkshire.
All right, if you got some treasure, do you bury it or bury it?
Bury it.
Why
Bury
is
it.
it spelled bury?
Well, because that's how you spell bury.
Because if you
Exactly.
go to elocution
Exactly.
lessons, well, I was watching one. I've got to tell you this now. You brought it up. There was one the other day that come across my phone. Somebody sent to me, and I clicked on it, and I go,
I
"There's
know
a
what
really
come
pretty
across your
American
phone.
girl. Really, really pretty American girl. Hope this is
Way
good
up.
information, right?" And then she said, she'd got some information from this man on social media called David Ick, I think she said.
Icky.
And apparently he used to live. He was born in a city called Leicester.
Leicester.
So David Ick, who was born in Leicester. And at that point, I thought she might be pretty, but she's one dumb fuck. So I switched it off. So I don't know if the information that she came up with was really good or whether it was. I don't have no idea. But yes,
Just a random
strange
question, Ed.
Go
How
on.
many dumb fucks have you had?
dumb fuck.
How many?
Well, none, because I'm always fairly vocal, as you can imagine. Can you tell me what? That's a classic line that off. Hang on a minute. When he goes, "What is dumb fuck?" No,
It was.
coming to America.
I ain't got a clue what the fucking hell Ed, both of you are fucking talking about, but I know that I can't get a fucking word in edgewise, whether it's you with your dump fucks or you with your burries and your fucking Rams bottoms and your fucking words. Pottersfield, tell us what that's what the meaning.
Oh yeah,
that is.
sorry, Pottersfield. For 200 years, twice a week, they buried unclaimed bodies in Pottersfield on that island that the drones are showing people burying bodies on. For 200 years, they've gone twice a week. There's no, I didn't see the numbers, but
Really?
they've gone twice a week to Pottersfield where they bury bodies that are unclaimed, unclassified, Joe Does, nobody knows who they are. And that's where they bury them. And now all of a sudden, this is coming out on mainstream media, on the same media that is saying, look at this hospital, it's a war zone. On the 25th, and on the 26th, there's a guy walking around this hospital going, hello? Hello? There's fuck all there. So if people can't raise questions about that, and they keep saying, because it's on BBC, Sky, you know, ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5, if it's all on that, it's got to be true, then you tell me, lads, if they put a spaceship on Sky Television and Donald Trump's talking to General Blub, all of a sudden people are going to freak the fuck out. And you've seen it. I was worried about Kevin the Carrot in December that they were fighting over in Aldi. But to see people calling for army to regulate toilet rolls at Tesco and people grassing people, I know somebody personally who had somebody knock on the window and said, that's twice you took your dog out today.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, especially on social media, isn't there, where people have been leaving
setting sites up for it. They're setting web pages up for it. It's fucking. I don't get it, because how is this distinguished, guys, from brown shirts? How is it distinguished? We've already got the PCSOs. We've got police officers who are going into Yorkshire front fucking gardens and saying, take your kids in because Corona's going to get them. I don't know what to say to these people. I don't know what to say to these people who are trying to enforce bollocks like that. And I had somebody really sensible today and say, well, listen, if I'm walking my dogs and a cop comes up to me and says, what are you doing? I'm going to look at my dogs and go, what? Yeah, but you shouldn't be out. Yeah, how long have you been out? Well, I don't need to answer those questions because I haven't committed a crime. What do you suspect me of? And I went, yeah, I agree with all that 3 weeks ago until martial law came in, and these police are being told in certain areas, you can see at the very least. I've not seen any coppers apart from the one who was parked up in an island while his mate was in the Indian collecting the tea. I've not seen anything like that, but I know people who've been stopped several times, where are you going? What are you doing? I know people who are in the police who are being instructed from the chief constable saying, don't approach the general public and say, what are you doing? Yet I know from at least Nottingham down, Devonshire police are just doing what the fuck they like. So it's a test. All I can say, this is a massive test to check on the compliance of the general public. And after working with the general public for 30 years, they're fucking bonkers, mate.
Oh, mate, lemmings. Just fucking.
But do you know what? You get called arrogant for saying that, yet you're the one who goes, but what are you doing that for? Everybody does it.
Just fucking lemmings, aren't they? Just off the end of a cliff.
I don't know what else. I don't know what else to say, mate.
Walking.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Well, I think there's not really much else to say for tonight. I've got a dog here that thinks that I think he really needs a piss or a shit or something.
Well, give me your bottle, you fucking mong.
I'm not giving him a bottle. I'm not going in putting my knob in there after his knob's been in. I'd be like, it's like we're having sex with same fucking bottle, plastic bottle, wouldn't it?
Ed, can you comment on that one?
I'm saying nothing.
I can neither confirm nor deny. That's
there you go.
Hey,
no
there's
comment.
my piss pot, and Aid's fucking cock won't fit in that, I'll tell you. It's that fucking big.
Yours does. It rattles a bit.
Oh, mine rattles all over the place.
Can I just ask? Like, for the record, all right? For the record, you know when you put your mic on mute and you sit there and you have a piss, can you press the other button that fucking turns your camera off? Because otherwise, all we see is this.
Yeah, no, but then people might worry about me. And I don't want people to worry about me. They might think he's only got one leg and now his camera's died on him. So I want people to know that I'm still all right.
We hear Danielle saying on the mic going, for fuck's sake, you're a dickhead, you, aren't you?
I don't think she'd say that about me.
Hey, no, I totally concur. You're right.
Well, anyway, we've done 2 hours, lads. Open your mind, as Adi says. Just a couple of little things that I wanted to mention as well. Congratulations to Vinnie Eastwood on his kid. He had a sprog on Sunday, I think.
Well, he did.
The 9th, weren't it?
He didn't.
Well, his birthday. His girl, Sarah, I think her name is. He did post a video of her. In fact, he posted a picture of her, and I said, "She's not going to thank you for that." Vinny. I commented, "She's not going to thank you for that. She's just in the most, the most." Yeah,
he did a 30-second video as well.
They're taking photos, and don't forget to download.
Thing is, she's like that. She's like that, and he's going.
Look, it's crowning. Don't forget Patreon, folks. Crowning, it's crowning. You can get more PayPal at Vinnie Eastwood. Oh God. Oh, Vinnie with an E. What is it? Vinnie with a Y, because that's the
question.
And Eastwood because make my day or something fucking daft stupid like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, congratulations to him, to his wife, his missus. Anyway, she's had and to him as well. They've had a baby girl, I think. So, congratulations to him. Our best regards to collectively to Ian Crane. I hope he's okay. Everything works out for him. I'm glad he's come through his operation okay. And we'll be back tomorrow night. I'm going to give these two the lastest words. So I'll start with you, AD, and then we'll get Webbit last word. We'll be back tomorrow night. I don't know what it's going to look like, and we don't know what tomorrow's going to look like. So how I'm supposed to know what this show's going to look like tomorrow, I don't know. But it will be back. It will be in some shape or form. So thanks for watching us, everybody. AD, go on. Last word for you, mate.
How long we're going to put up with this shit?
Well, the question is, Ed, how long have we
Yeah.
Put up with it.
Yeah.
Well, that's enough from you two. We'll see you tomorrow. Go on, Webby. What's your last word, mate?
Well, after I spoke with my mate who is a big Corbyn fan. He's actually been and had tea with Jeremy Corbyn. When Corbyn left, that was it. Labour was gone. It was over with. He told me this week that the fella who's took over, in his words, is the best we've got. So the best we've got covered up probably one of the biggest paedophile rings that have ever been in England. And Boris Johnson, who was Home Secretary at the time, obviously must have been involved in that at some point, and he's leader of the opposition of the Labour Party, and that's the best you've got. And both parties agree on most things. What do you say?
Yeah. No.
Exactly my point. To stop fucking voting.
Just the illusion that there's there's two conflicting parties. Anyway, we must go. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Stay safe. Get yourself out in garden as well. Don't go looking for trouble. Just if you need to go somewhere, if you want to go somewhere, then go somewhere. If anyone stops you, be polite and tell them to fuck off. All right. So tell them that's from me as well.
Jason,
do this new dance. It's just that, and it just means off you fuck. So when you get asked a question by somebody in a uniform, you just go,
"Hey, you!" There used to be one of them things.
Like on the Death Star or in the space station, you've got to come back down to Earth, Jason.
Oh no, I like it here. It's fucking floaty, and I don't have to walk. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, bit guys. Bye.